the fork. This is a handlebar. And here we've got a frame. And so that's what we got. Okay, so first up for this bike build is the fork. First thing we need to do is run brake hose through the fork. It comes out here, and then we'll set it into the head tube. This is the brake hose. Let's see, we will go ahead and route it through here. And I've already got a barb in there. Let's see if this goes through smoothly. And it comes right out the other side, so that was really minimal effort. I'm a amateur bike mechanic, so if I can do this, anybody can do this. So we got some premium bicycle grease. We're going to put in the bottom bearing here, and then we're going to put the fork in. So hopefully the grease will kind of keep this up there, and then we'll quickly grab the fork and slide it into place. Just looking at this, I see a little bit of beveling on this side, so that's the side that's going to go up into the frame. So what I'm going to do is just real quickly grease that. Okay, so I've got the bottom bearing installed. I don't think these bearings even need to be pressed in. That is pretty flush. So I've got grease on the other side, and what I'm going to do is put some grease on the bottom of the fork and then put that in there. I've already installed the top one, so next I'll lower the bike stand and basically get the rest of the headset assembly in place. Okay, so the research I did on this fork online says that the crown race is integrated, so you can see there's a little bit of a lip there around there made out of carbon fiber, so I'm just going to go around that with some grease and then install this onto the bike. All right. Alright, that is it through there. Seems to be in good shape. Saw that advice on another video as well. And there we have it. Okay, so for the back, well, we start right here, and then we're going to put some foam padding once it gets past where, let's see, there's got something blocking it here. Not sure if I need to take this piece out. Okay, so I just shined a flashlight through the bottom bracket up this way, and I can see there is clearance to get a cable through, so it just needs to be like right up against the side. Okay, so after some fidgeting around, I was able to get the cable past the spacer for the piece that is for a duo trap sensor. So I'm just going to run it out right here, and then from here I'm going to put foam that's going to go through here. So this part will be foam. This part I don't think is going to make any noise because it's really snug in there. So let's install some foam. Okay, so this is the foam. Just going to run the cable through that. Okay, so I was able to get the foam cover on. Basically what I did is I cut them into 12-inch pieces and then slid them on individually much easier to get those on, and it should provide the same effect. So now what I'm doing is I've got just a little bit extra down here. That should be plenty to get what I need to cut. So I'm going to push this foam a little bit up in there. I've got another piece of this, so I may put a little bit more on, maybe get a little bit of padding right in here to reduce any noise that may come from there. Okay, so I've got the front and rear brake cables run through the frame. I'm going to basically start putting the headset spacers and make sure I get the routing for the cables to the handlebars correctly. Okay, so the next step is to install the DI2 cables. I've already installed the one for the front derailleur. I basically pushed it through the back of this opening, flipped the frame upside down, and just pushed it through and let gravity bring it up to the top. So it's up at the top here. Next thing I'm doing is pushing the cable for the rear derailleur through, and once I get it up to a certain point, I will flip the frame upside down and bring it out the seat tube as well. Was able to pull the DI2 cable through and just make sure I got enough on the back and in the front, and I'll call that done. So there it is in the back, and there it is up top. Okay, so this is the DI2 battery. Looking at the connectors, this top one goes to the rear derailleur. This one is actually what they call a dummy port, and this one will go to the front derailleur. Connect the rear derailleur first. For a little click, should be good to go. Let's remove this tape. And connect the front derailleur. Hear a little click, and we'll just push this down into the seat tube. And that's it. That is the DI2 battery. And we've got the front derailleur cable here, rear derailleur cable here, and that completes the wiring install on the bike. Okay, so we're going to install the bottom bracket. This is the drive side. It says right, so it's tightened towards the back. And this is the left, which once you put it in is also tightened towards this way. So I've already greased this. Just got it started a little bit. We'll come around to the non-drive side. Here we go. Got it going. So I'm just going to hand tighten this. Okay, from here we got a tool we're going to use. So this is supposed to be 40 Newton meters. I don't have a torque wrench, but I've done enough of these to kind of know where to stop. So just play it by hand. One tip I saw online was to cover this in saran wrap, but this tool I've never really had problems with installing bottom brackets on the other two bikes I did last year. So I got a little tension there, so we'll just go to one good half turn. We should be good to go. There we go. And same thing on this side. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and install the 12-speed crankset. This is Ultegra. So for this bike I went with Ultegra crankset cassette, and disc brakes. Everything else is 105. I didn't really feel like the difference in cost between the 105 and Ultegra was worth it. Had to have button shifters on the top, just wasn't something I was really needing. Just having electronic is going to be, you know, good enough for me. Make sure there's a little plastic tab in there that's seated. So I'm just going to give it a little hand twist, get it on there. Okay, so I've got the spacers set up on the fork. The fork is ready to have the tube cut. I've got the tool on there to do that. I've got it marked where I want it. Yeah, it was through. All right, that's a pretty clean cut. Got a little bit of dust on the stem. That's a quick cleanup. All right, check it out. Okay, after a little bit of effort, I was able to get the fork steerer tube cut. I went ahead and put a little extra on the top. I may cut it back down a little more if I decide to go away with one of these spacers. Right now I've got a 60 millimeter stack height. Each one of these is 15 plus that, so 45 plus 15. Yeah, so each one of those is about 15 millimeters in height. So it was a little bit of effort to get that on there without having a little bit of play in the fork, but I got it out. Okay, so I just installed the olive and barb and then tightened the bolt onto the front brake. I'm getting ready to repeat that on the back. I've been using this tool to do that. It cuts cable like you wouldn't believe. So, you know, I just cut the cable on the back and I've got the barb sitting on top. I'm getting ready to install the barb. You can see how easily this cuts cable. Boom, done. Wow, super easy. Much easier than the cable cutter method I was using when I was doing you know, regular brakes. But the next step is to basically go this way. So I can get around my frame here. Got that started. I'm just going to tighten this so the cable doesn't move, and then just turn this clockwise, and this will put the barb in. Done. Loosen up the cable. Pull that out, and the barb is cleanly in there. I've completed the installation of the brake cables, and my dog is whining. What's the matter, Bailey? What's the matter? Everybody's gone. It's just me and you. You can be cool. Be cool. All right? Just let me make this video. Hang out. Okay. So it took me a while to get the brake lines installed on the bike. The rear, actually, to the brake calipers was pretty easy. They used standard bolts to connect the cable to the brake. And I'm trying to pull that back, but yeah, that's a standard. However, the Shimano 105s actually use a different bolt to go into the shifter, and I had to order those. Had to wait like 4 days to get those. But they went right in, everything was smooth, and next thing I'm going to do is bleed the brakes. So that'll be what's up next here. That'll be my first time doing that, but I've been watching tons of videos on it, so hopefully it'll go smoothly, although nothing has gone smoothly at this point. That's probably too much. But, I'm going to get some of this air out. Okay, so I'm starting to do the front brake caliper here. I've got the syringe hooked up to the brake. I've turned this a full turn, and I've got the cup on the left shifter. So let's see if this pushes through. And I do hear stuff coming up. And let me close that off and see if that does the trick. Okay, so the system's closed off down there. Yeah, now I'm getting brake responsiveness out of there, and I can see bubbles coming out. Okay, so I've just put the chain on the bike. I followed a YouTube video that basically tells you to start with the chain on the smallest cog in the back and then on the smallest cog in the front. You bring it together. I got a little red dot where this master link is. I basically just pulled them close enough where I got a little bit of pull on the rear derailleur and snapped it in there following Shimano's instructions. So I just took it out for a little road test. I'm going to have to do some indexing on the back. The chain is just a little bit off, too far to the outside of the bike. I need to bring it back in a little bit, and it didn't quite go up to the big cog, so indexing it more towards the wheel will make it shift a little smoother. The front derailleur is not really working that great at all, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on that one. I couldn't get it to go up to the big chain ring. But out of the box, just putting on there, I'm pretty happy with being able to get this chain on there and take it for a quick ride. Took it for about a quarter-mile ride, and the rear brake seems to work pretty good. You can see it's got quite a bit of pressure there. However, the front brake, it's almost touching the handlebar. I noticed there wasn't much fluid on the top of here yesterday when I took it off, so I'm going to quickly redo that one and hopefully get a little bit more pressure since that's the main brake on the bike. So, not too bad. It's coming along. YouTube's been pretty helpful for getting this built. This is my third bike build. See, I did one with regular V brakes. I did this bike last year with hydraulic brakes, but it was a closed system that I bought and didn't actually do any bleeding of brakes. It just came as a system and it went right on there pretty smooth. But this one is a complete build from the ground up. So making some mistakes along the way. I had to recut this yesterday because I had a little bit of a leak when I initially put it on there, but it seems to be working and holding right now. The front one was just right off the bat pretty good. So that's it. So we'll redo the front brake, and then next up is basically tuning the front and rear derailleurs so shifting is butter smooth, and that will complete the build other than wrapping the bars.
A few moments later.